Hi, everyone. This is Jackie Cooper with the Crypto Mom 2 talk show and the Blockchain Legal Institute talk show. And I would like to welcome everyone to this episode and remind everyone to like and subscribe because there are some wonderful stories that are in the queue, and I don't want you to miss anything. I'm really excited today for my guest because way back when I first started my law career, I was actually managing musicians. And my dad was a piano player, and I have a family of musicians. So anytime that I can talk to someone in the music field, I'm super excited. And also because of the fact that we both are going to end up at a wonderful conference called the Bitcoin Conference in Nashville. And so that's at the end of July. And if you are listening to this after the Bitcoin conference, remember the Bitcoin conferences happen every year. And they are also not just in the United States, they are also around the world. But for our conversation today, we are talking about some really exciting events that are happening at Bitcoin in Nashville. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Jackie. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I know that you and I connected because I was networking for the reception that we're doing, which is the Bitcoin Cinderella wine and cheese reception, and I stumbled on your site, and then we started talking about the Bitcoin community and your story and your daughter's story and how you're really helping musicians across the nation. So let's talk a little bit more about how you got into music and how you decided to do what you're doing. And for everyone who's listening, we will have links below so that way you can reach out, enjoy the musical events that are happening, and also support in other ways as well. So, how did you get started?
Well, getting started in music, my first professional gig, I was in junior high. Just started playing gigs when I was a kid. Like a lot of musicians, played in the church band. Started at the University of Colorado as a piano composition major. Left university for 2.5 years to tour, living out of a suitcase, all of 91, all of 92, half a year studying jazz in Switzerland in 93. Then I went back, finished up my undergrad at Colorado, and then I moved out to LA, and I was a singer-songwriter in LA from 95 to 03. Met my wife there. We've been together 20 some odd years now, and we decided we didn't want to raise a kid in Southern California, so we moved to Florida, and then then we were in Seattle for a while, and then my poor daughter caught the music bug and started doing gigs around Seattle, and she said, "Mom and Dad, I want to go to Nashville," and we said, "Okay, you're an only kid. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's try it." So we moved here to Nashville really to support her career as a singer-songwriter. We moved here um, literally 6 weeks before COVID, and she was 15 at the time, so she's 20 now, and here we are. So yeah, I still play. I still do. It's not. It's unfortunately, I'm not on the road. 24/7. I'm not. Um, signed to a label or anything like that. But it's obviously still a huge part of my life. I still do. Anywhere from 2 to 12 gigs a month. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. So talk to me more about what's going on at the Bitcoin conference and the 3-day event that you're hosting.
Yeah, so with the company that my wife and I started is called Phantom Power Music, and we started this because of the success that our daughter Ainsley has had with her music as a pop singer-songwriter in the Bitcoin space. And it started a year ago in July. I was at the Lightning Summit here at Bitcoin Park in Nashville, and I met a couple of guys from the website Wavelake, Wavlake. And they said, "Hey, we've got this website. If you're an independent musician, you can put your music up here and you get paid in Bitcoin." I said, "Well, that's pretty cool. I'll tell my daughter about it. She's a singer-songwriter." My daughter comes down, meets the founders from Wavelake. She puts one song up on Wavelake. Adam Curry of Podcasting 2.0 fame picked up on it, put it on his show, and it kind of went viral. She got 1 million sats. She was the first artist to get 1 million sats on a song, and
Wow.
that parlayed into tech companies, be it podcast developers, wallet developers, so Nostr developers, everybody reaching out to my daughter Ainsley and my wife and I, saying, "Hey, what's next? What can we do to help?" This, that, and the other thing, which then parlayed into Ainsley doing 2 shows up in Minneapolis in December, and pulled in another, I don't even know. I want to probably like 15 million sats coming in for those 2 shows, as we were live streaming it and testing the tech and working with people from Podverse and Fountain and True Fans and CurioCaster and everybody to try and really hone in on the tech and being able to do live streaming in the Bitcoin world with live boosts and zaps over the Lightning Network. And so how all of that relates together is like really like, my daughter really brought my wife and I into this industry and into the Bitcoin world with her music. And my wife and I said, okay, well, if we can figure this out for her, because, a little over a year ago, we didn't know anything about this, but we said, if we can figure this out for our daughter, then we can figure this out for other people and we can teach them how to do it.
Yes.
And that's what Phantom Power Music has become. I now do a couple of podcasts every week where I am featuring independent artists in the Bitcoin space from around the world. I interview them, I put them on my show. We are onboarding artists, teaching them about wallets, Nostr, RSS, just getting them acclimated into this space. We have developed a license for it. We're still on the front lines dealing with app developers and wallet developers and things like that. So it's really, it's just in a wonderful way, it has completely upended our lives here. And we decided we're going to take all these artists that we know and love, and we're going to try and do something special at the Bitcoin conference. And so we partnered with the Embassy Suites downtown, literally right across the street from the convention center. And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of that week, of the conference week, we're going to have live bands up on the 4th floor at the Embassy Suites. We're going to be live streaming it. We're going to be showing the Lightning Wallet technology, the BoostBot technology, the podcast technology that all of these artists are coming to depend upon for their additional revenue streams. And it's really going to be a celebration of what Bitcoin can do for musicians, what the Lightning Network can do for musicians, what podcasting 2.0 can do. It's not about Phantom Power. It's really about the whole movement of getting as many independent musicians into this world as we can, because we all know that they're not getting a fair deal with Spotify.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
No, I love it. And I know that I'm going to ask you in a second to show the website. Let me ask you a question. Well, for those that are listening to, definitely go to enjoy the music, and then also visit if you're within the Bitcoin conference. Definitely visit, because I'll have a booth there. It's called Bitcoin Cinderella, and I'll have my books, the Bitcoin Cinderella book, which is also about the history of Bitcoin, and it is bilingual in Spanish and English, because it takes place in El Salvador, and Cinderella and Snow White have an adventure there, so it's a lot of fun. But let me ask you a question, because of my being law and also being in education. Um, how many of these artists, because again, it's an area that I'm very interested in helping and protecting individuals. How many of these artists have thought about, the will side, and also letting their families know on what the digital assets are that they're collecting? Because this is a generational wealth that they are, both from the music side as well as, the Bitcoin that they're collecting. How many of them do you think need support and education in terms of that whole planning area? And, again, this is something that I see that might be added to what you're doing with them that could also help, because sometimes, like with every other artist in the legacy side, when you get a lot of wealth or recognition, you then have to plan the economics of how are you going
Oh
to
yeah.
extend it. So what's your experience in seeing what's going on in our community?
It is so early right now that what I have not had that discussion with a single musician yet, but it will come. If you have to remember that I'm dealing with independent artists who are holding down one, two, maybe three jobs
I know.
so that they can go out and do the thing that they love and typically not get paid for it.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating education cycle slash sales pitch.
Hmm.
Um, so I have not had that conversation about generational wealth, legacy planning, estate planning, anything like that with these folks just yet, because the majority of them, um, the money that they're making in the space, anywhere from $100 to $1,000 a month, is getting kicked over to a wallet, or quite frankly, since they're struggling to make ends meet, they kick it out of their Albi or Fountain or Breeze or whatever, and they move it into Strike, and then they go pay their bills with it.
Yeah.
Um, but that will come as more and more artists come in, and more importantly, as more of the general public come in and start listening to their podcasts or your podcast on these Bitcoin enabled podcast apps like Fountain and Podverse and CurioCaster. That's something I know you and I talked about that. Like, you got to get migrated over there so that people can
Yeah.
send you money
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that's definitely my game plan between now and the Bitcoin conference. And I know I'm going to reach out to you if I have any
yeah,
questions.
but it's
Um,
just so early that I haven't had that discussion yet, because everybody is like, they're sitting on anywhere from $10 to $1,000 right now. So
So I want to offer this because I do, and for everyone who's listening, it's also there. I am doing monthly free workshops on digital asset organization.
oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, I mean there is the mastermind, which is for those that want a little bit more handholding, which is once a month, and that is, for the whole year, and that there is a fee for that. But the free monthly is really to start having that mindset, because I know when I was young, I never thought about IRAs, I never thought about retirement, and it wasn't
Yeah.
until I was older that I started thinking about this. But in our digital asset life, I think everyone needs to, when you start the journey, it's a lot easier to plan it now. So I can share that information with you, and definitely you can offer it to them if they want to hop on and get some background knowledge. So that way they can become a little bit wiser in terms of, just like you are advising on different things, they can maybe think through different decisions to decide, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. Because even if they're a minor and their parents aren't maybe aware of everything that they're doing, if something happens to them, that is going to stay on chain and their
Oh,
family
yeah.
will have no clue. So, these are things that are difficult conversations, but it needs to happen, especially because it's not like you can see a house and just kind of, okay, that's owned and now I can sell it. This is kind of invisible and needs a little bit more planning. So
Yeah, absolutely.
love to offer that. But why don't you show the your platform and the website so we can also go back to talking about music.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just launched an updated version of the site. I hope you can see it here.
Yes, come.
Um,
Yeah, it looks great.
yeah, well, I wish I could take credit for it, but I'm a little colorblind, and my wife does not allow me to do any sort of graphic design. The homepage here of phantompowermusic.io
Yeah,
um, is basically just an overview of what's going on with our services, the opportunities that are out there for independent artists. Um, we talk about how there's a whole new social media world out there, Noster, that you should be diving into. There's all these
yeah,
podcasting 2.0 apps that you should be diving into. We briefly mentioned wallets. we just give everybody a little bit of a taste of this whole new Web3 world, and just basically say, hey, look, we're here to connect the dots for you. And we help with rights management, education, wallets, private keys, lightning invoices, all of it, just, because there's so much to learn. If you remember when
Yeah.
you first got into Bitcoin and you're like, what it's like every day is a mental Charlie horse. So we really try to break it down into bite-sized segments. And it's like, okay, let's get your music in. And all right, now let's get you set up with a wallet. All right, let's get you comfortable. Now let's get you set up with podcast players. All right, next week we're going to talk about Noster, but let's
Love it.
let's get
I
you
love
up,
I
right?
love
Just
it. I
little,
love it.
just little pieces. Because if you walk in there and start, talking about, well, you need to be sovereign and everything on chain right off the bat, they're going to be like, yeah, peace out. I'm out of here. So we just try to take little baby steps, right? So that's the main page there of phantompowermusic.io. And then if you go to upcoming events, that's where you're going to see, hey, we've got this Bands at Bitcoin thing that is happening at the Embassy Suites. We've also, and then, we listed the conference on there. I'm supposed to be on a panel talking about music and everything. I don't know when that panel is going to be, but we'll see. We're also partnering up with Tunester
Nice.
uh, for some events happening at the Vinyl Lounge in August. And yeah, so that's just that's just a brief overview. If you're an unsigned artist, we'll host up to 12 songs a year. And there's an onboarding and education fee because, as you're going to spend an hour, 2, 3 hours talking to us about how to understand all this stuff as we
Yeah. Oh,
as we baby step you
it's
through it.
definitely worth the value because of the fact that it's an investment in the future. It definitely is.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So, so
yeah.
that's one side of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, join the Valueverse. Is that where they go, or where would they, if they wanted more information, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah. So there is a contact page on here, but if you go to join the Valueverse, that's where you can sign up, start uploading your material, and pay that onboarding fee.
Got it.
And then if they need to reach out to us, of course, at the bottom, you got email and socials and everything like that. So
That's awesome. I mean, this is
yeah,
definitely a service that is needed. I know that in managing artists years ago, there was always a struggle in terms of finding one, where to go to have people hear, and then finding trustworthy individuals to help with the marketing and just the education side. And I love the fact that it's in the Bitcoin community. So, you're actually helping them understand more about the generational wealth side. So for sure, are you thinking that you're going to be traveling to other conferences, or where are you going to be in the future?
yeah, I do. I think we're trying to work Pacific and Atlanta in, kind of, maybe we can work some music in some way. Um, but we would love to be able to take this show on the road, so to speak. Um, in a perfect world, because I've got artists that we're working with that are in Iceland, that are in the UK, that are in Australia.
Wow.
Um, we're starting to really build a good global footprint. So in a perfect world, like next year, like I would love to have a Phantom Power stage at a London event, at a Riga event, um, and really and be featuring musicians that are in the Bitcoin space. I don't want to have a stage and just bring in a band because it's a party. No, we want to show off the tech, and we want to grow the community, and we want to reward musicians who have taken the chance on this. So if there's a big Bitcoin event coming up in in London next year and we can coordinate it and put together a bunch of UK artists for it, I'm in. We would love to help out any way we can.
Well,
But long term, we are talking, myself and Toonster, we are talking about doing a road show, like
mhm.
a tour around the States here with all Bitcoin artists.
That's nice. Well, definitely you'll have to keep me in the loop on that because I'm always on the move. And Blockchain Legal Institute has it's a centralized library for decentralized resources. And one of the verticals there is definitely Bitcoin, and I'm a Bitcoin miner, so I'm definitely heavily vested in our community, and I definitely would like to support you. And I know that I'm talking to a lot of different conferences, so I'll now be having my ears open as to what are they doing from the music side. And definitely I'll always be thinking about you and the artist because that's close to my heart. So
Thank
for those that are listening, again, if you do need resources, definitely check out the Blockchain Legal Institute at www.bli.tools, or definitely, again, if you are thinking about any of the quasi legal side or the digital asset organization, I will also put the free webinars down below. But the Phantom Music website, everything will be below, and definitely come out to Bitcoin conference. But know that just like we talked about, it's not the only conference that you're going to find all these musicians in. So definitely, I know you have a free newsletter, don't you?
Well, just follow us on Instagram or Noster. Like, I mean, we've got a mailing list that, for some PR announcements, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to see it on Noster or Instagram.
Okay, so then for everyone
Or-
who's listening, definitely, subscribe to the Nostr or the Instagram. That way you can see where your next favorite musician might be.
Yeah.
You can support, because again, it is all about supporting the community. So I know that I'll be hitting the like and subscribe button so that way I can see where you're going to be, because it's all about having fun. So any last minute thoughts that you want to share before we sign off?
No, just thank you so much for having me. And if anybody who's listening knows independent musicians, uh, please send them our way. There is a way to get paid in Bitcoin. It works. And there's a couple of musicians that are doing really well, and it's early, and now's the time to get in.
Yeah, for sure. And remember, everyone, as I always say at the end of all my shows, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all so interconnected. We're all part of one world, and now more than ever. So everyone, have a great day. And for those that are listening, have a happy 4th, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.